What's up everyone, Lion Roar here, and we have a brand new Mighty Pets event in Empires and Puzzles. Yes, you heard that right. So we're gonna break them down and give them grades. Alright, so I'm just going to cover the legendary heroes today because there are a lot of heroes and I don't want the video to take like 30 minutes. So let's look at those legendaries. Those are the ones that everybody's going after anyway. However, first, this is your last opportunity to use a free redeem code in Gemstone Legends. So if you're playing along with me, or if you haven't yet, you can use the link in the description of this video to download the game and get a bunch more free stuff, including a free epic hero. But whether you're downloading it for the first time or if you're playing along with me already, go into your inbox, click redeem, and type in the code spooky roar, and you're going to get a free gold scroll. And you're gonna probably want to do this soon because they've already had two excellent heroes at the altar where you could use that gold scroll to get it, and there's a really good one right now. So make sure you get your free gold scroll. The code expires November 15th. This is the fall of 2022. Now let's take a look at these mighty pets. First up, let's talk about Bubbles, who's a 5-star blue hero of the barbarian class. I don't feel like there's a ton of blue barbarians, so that's kind of interesting, and you probably do have a lot of those emblems hanging around for this. There is a mighty pet family bonus. Of course, I'm not going to go through this every time. We'll go through it this first time. There's a bonus for 1, 2, or 3 heroes, which is kind of unique this time around. So minions for this hero inherit a 2%, 3%, or 4% extra attack. Minions also gain the same amount of extra health. Also, fiends for this hero absorb the same percentages of less max health, and fiends for this hero inherit negative percentages less attack. All the same percentages depending on if you have 1, 2, or 3 heroes. So we haven't really seen these before. That's kind of interesting. That does mean minions and fiends matter for these heroes. All right, let's take a look at this passive here for Bubbles. Fiend of the Familiars. When a minion is summoned to any ally, this character gains 5% health and 5% mana. This effect can activate only once per turn. That is a really good passive. And then Wrath of Pets. When a fiend is summoned to any enemy, this character deals 85% damage to all enemies. This effect can activate only once per turn. So as you can already tell, if a lot of these heroes are going to have these particular passives, it is really going to behoove you to run as many of these as you possibly can, because you're going to be setting off all the effects at once, and that is a lot of really great synergy. This particular hero has 828 attack, 788 defense, and 1437 HP. It's really the attack here that stands out. Let's see if the special for the attack matters. So Spectral Visions is the special at fast speed, deals 480% damage to the target, making it a sniper. The snipers have really fallen off in recent years, so the special has to be really good for a sniper to be good. Let's see if it is. The target gets negative 44% defense for 4 turns. I like to see that. That's really nice. But still, it's only one hero in an age when there's plenty of these effects at fast speed that affect all the enemies. However, lastly, and this is what really piqued my interest with Bubbles, the target automatically casts Shifting Mindless Attack on a random ally when mana is full at the start of a turn during 4 turns. When this effect is triggered, it shifts to the hit ally and the duration is refreshed. So this is interesting, and it's going to cause you to have to strategize a little bit. The special kind of works against itself a little bit, but I don't think it's actually going to be a big deal. Here's how it works against it and how you're going to need to strategize. So of course, when you do a big hit on an enemy, 480% of attack, which is pretty amazing, you're likely to kill the enemy, especially if you give it negative 44% defense. But you really don't want the enemy to die. You want to hit it with the Shifting Mindless Attack and then keep the enemy alive so that the mindless attack can shift around to other enemies. Now, in this day and age, they're making heroes that are so tough, like defensively and with HP, that especially near the beginning of a game, they should be able to survive this. Like, opponents should be able to survive the first hit, and then you got to play around it and try not to kill whatever hero you hit so you can allow the mindless attack to shift around. Maybe you hit an opposing hero with this, and then you work on whatever other hero or two is going to be the biggest threat to try and just straight up kill them. And then the shifting mindless attack can then move to another opposing hero, which if you've been strategizing correctly and getting rid of 2 or 3 of the most powerful heroes on the other side, is then going to affect one of the remaining heroes, and you should be able to kind of like funnel it into which ones those are going to be if you're playing it right, and of course if you get the board tiles to be able to do something like this. So take note, you're gonna have to play around with it. This isn't just a straight up like amazing special that's just going to be overpowered or anything, but it is very good when you use it correctly. Just make sure to keep that hero alive, and when you get into the late game, I'll tell you what, there's no better special than just kill an opposing hero. So you don't necessarily need the mindless shifting mindless attack at the end of the game. You can just kill a hero. I see this being a very good hero for war, for the Watchtower, for events, tournaments, the Titan even, because you can stop the Titan special potentially. There's a lot of great blue heroes that do that already, but if you're like relatively new to the game or you don't have one of those heroes, you certainly can use bubbles to do that. So I think this is a great hero. I think it has a really cool and fun special. I think it actually makes this sniper somewhat good. So I'm going to give Bubbles an A, and we'll see how Bubbles does. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you think about this one, because this one's kind of unique. Hachiko is a 5-star holy hero of the monk class, also part of the mighty pet family, getting the bonuses that we had already talked about. Fiend of the Familiars is a passive here. Again, we've covered that one, and then the Wrath of Pets as well. So remember those passives. I think a lot of people tend to forget about the passives, but they've been becoming really powerful recently. 838 attack, 768 defense, and 1452 HP, and just like Bubbles, that's a really high attack stat if you can take advantage of it. The other stats are relatively average in this day and age. Strike of 1,000 Howls is the special at average speed. And again, you can make average speed functionally fast. Functionally, not technically, but functionally fast. When you put a mana troop on the hero to bring it down from 10 tiles needed to 9 tiles needed to go off. And remember, there is the mana effect on the passives as well, which could potentially change this math too. But that will help you set Hachiko off with 3 matches instead of 4 matches. And then Hachiko deals 270% damage to all enemies. All allies counterattack with 80% of the damage received for 4 turns. The counterattack damage increases by 20% each turn up to 140%, which is pretty absurd. And all allies get plus 50% critical chance for 4 turns. They are finally making heroes that counterattack with really strong specials. For the longest time, Empires and Puzzles hadn't quite figured out counterattack, because it means you have to be hitting the heroes in order to get the effect, and that often meant your heroes were dying anyway. Now, this is pretty amazing. It's dealing a ton of damage. It's dealing damage right away, so you whittle them down a little bit, so it really hurts to hit. The counter attack damage keeps going up. The critical chance keeps going up. This is really amazing. So I think it's probably one of the better counter attacking heroes out there. I'm willing to give Hachiko an A, even though I usually don't like counter attacking heroes all that much. I mean, you can make him go off really quickly, and he's dealing just tons of damage immediately, and as much as the team is getting hit, which again is all allies. We've often seen only like the hero and nearby allies get the counterattack, and this is everybody. So pretty good. I think Hachiko is going to live up to the hype. I think it's going to be more useful in like Wars and Watchtower than on something like the Titan or events and things like that. But I'm willing to give Hachiko an A, and I certainly think you could use it pretty much everywhere, but generally in the more PvP kinds of situations. I think that's where he's really going to shine. Chomper is a 5-star red hero paladin class, which is one of the better classes. It makes them just really, really, really tough. Of course, part of the Mighty Pet family, getting the Fiend of the Familiars passive along with Wrath of Pets. 809 attack, 821 defense, which is already really high for also being paladin class, and then 1421 HP. Slice and Dice is the special average speed. Again, you can bring that down from 10 tiles to 9 pretty easily. There's multiple ways to do that now. Deals 330% damage to the target and nearby enemies. Heals each ally with 40% of total damage dealt, and the target and nearby enemies receive 352 bleed damage over 4 turns. So, these hit 3 heroes are usually better on offense than on defense, because oftentimes when they're on defense, they only actually hit 2 heroes, because they could just target like any of the end heroes and only hit 2. Plus, if one of your heroes gets taken out and they hit any of the end heroes next to the gap, well, it's only going to hit two heroes. This will often happen when you're attacking on offense too, but at least the first hit that you get off with it should hit 3, because usually your first round of specials means the opposing team still has all their enemies left. You're better at using hit 3 heroes on offense for that reason. Now, I think people like Chomper a lot, and I'm just kind of like medium on Chomper. I think 330% damage to the target and nearby enemies is a lot of damage, especially if you take the attack emblem path on this. And so this is a very, very good hero, but you know what? He should do that much damage if he's going to be average speed. That's a lot of healing too, 40% of the damage dealt if you're going to increase the attacks. You really want to just like go sword path as much as you possibly can when you're putting emblems on this guy. I do like that receiving 352 bleed damage over 4 turns as well. It's just kind of like a way to nickel and dime it. But do note that part's just kind of sitting there in the background, helping you to get a little extra damage. Otherwise, there's not anything too super special about this. I don't think you're really going to use it on defense all that much. You know, you could potentially use him in events, maybe a tournament, depending on what the situation is. I don't think he's super versatile though. So for that reason, I'm going to give Chomper a B, because I think if you get him, he's fine. He's not a top tier hero, but he's going to deal a lot of damage. He's got great stats, quite honestly, but he's just kind of vanilla. Like, he just doesn't do as much as a lot of the other heroes they release these days. Toto is a 5-star nature hero, part of the Druid class. So this is interesting along with these heroes in particular because of the passives they're getting. You will sometimes summon minions, and when you do that, it matters because of the passives we already talked about. Mighty Pet Family, Fiend of the Familiars, and Wrath of the Pets. So Toto has 795 attack, 826 defense, which is really good, and 1437 HP. He is slow, which, oh my gosh, slow heroes in this day and age are just so hard to make good. But they can be. Once in a while, a slow hero comes out and is really good, but they better end the game. To get an A as a slow hero, for me, they need to end the game when they go off. Because by now, most of the time, whenever you're playing, the game is over by the time the slow hero goes off. So the slow hero better just end it and put a cap on it. All right, let's look at the special though. Puppy Tails recovers 45% health for all allies. That's a lot of healing. Summons a brown puppy minion for each ally with 35% HP and 55% attack inherited from the caster. Those are big minions as well. All allies reduce all received damage from the attacks and special skills with a stronger element by negative 80% for 5 turns. In other words, basically this just means that the strong color isn't the strong color anymore. It becomes like a weak color. So do take note of that. Here's my problem with this special though. While it is really powerful, it does not end the game. And so it's going to take a while for it to go off, but it is really powerful. If the opponent is like playing against Toto and Toto's on defense, for example, and they get a bad board or something and Toto goes off, it's going to make it very, very, very difficult to actually beat that team then. You know where Toto's really going to shine is in the very fast tournaments and wars, where you can get this to go off pretty early. Not only does everybody heal, but they get these massive minions. It sets off a chain reaction of all these passives that if you bring multiple pets, they'll just go off like ding, 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 you know. So there's a lot going on here, and I think this could make Toto really, really difficult to deal with in certain situations, especially very fast wars and tournaments. But it's going to be really hard for Toto to have an impact in regular situations, because at regular speeds in wars, in the Watchtower, things like that, even events and like tournaments, it's just so intensive to try and get that much mana to make it work. So he does have a powerful special, so I give him that. He's going to be a pain to fight against if he goes off. I do think he'd have to be situated somewhere near the front to try and get hit with some tiles to go off if he's going to be on a defense. On offense, he might be okay. You know, with the mana bonus, it might make him a little faster. So do take note of that. But all around, I think he's, no matter how amazing the special is, slow heroes just struggle in most cases. But he is tough. He is a good one. If his druid class minions can go off even before his special, it starts triggering some of the other passives. So, you know, I think that Toto's worth a B, because you're not going to use him everywhere. He's not super versatile. He is strong. He is powerful. He's going to be amazing in very fast situations. But he's not going to be useful everywhere. And last but certainly not least, we have Ferdinand, who, if anything, I would want to collect him just to own the card. There's something about him that's just so lovable. But he's a 5-star holy hero. He is of the cleric class, getting all the bonuses we talked about before with only 782 attack, which, man, back in the day used to be amazing, but in this day and age, as we saw, like everybody else was like over 800. He does have 828 defense, so he is really tough, 1462 HP. Bark of Protection is the special at average speed. Cleanses status ailments from all allies. All allies get plus 63 defense. That's huge for 4 turns. All allies share received damage with each other for 4 turns, which, take note, is a buff for any of the like tournaments and things that you do where buffs matter. All allies reflect status ailments and negative stacks for 4 turns. And all allies regenerate 732 HP for 4 turns. There is a lot going on with this guy, and I will tell you what, there is the potential with this special to have a lot of synergy to make teams that are built around his effect. If you've watched my wars in the past, I have a boom or bust team that relies on Wilbur, because when he goes off, he gives everybody, like everybody shares damage. The opposing team gets negative defense, and then you can just light them up with big damage dealers who hit everybody. Now, although he doesn't give negative defense to the opponents, there's plenty of heroes in this day and age that you can bring along that will do that in combination with what he's doing here. But he is like really, really focused on keeping your team alive. So, I mean, you're sharing damage, you're increasing the defense, you're cleansing status ailments, you're reflecting them if you get hit with them like after he's already cleansed them, and then also regenerating 732 HP over 4 turns. Like, people keep forgetting through all of Empires and Puzzles history how powerful that regeneration over time matters. Like, the healing over time is such a powerful effect, especially in like arrows wars, where the arrows are just hitting and they're hitting and they're hitting, and you're getting the regular attack and the regular attack. Like, you just get nickel and dimed in the arrows wars. So something like this, regenerating 732 HP over 4 turns, is going to be really, really helpful. It is going to be so hard for an opponent to kill your team with Ferdinand on it if Ferdinand gets to go off. And because it's average speed, again, you can make it functionally fast. I always have to say this because somebody always comments, it's not technically fast. I know it's not technically fast, but it's functionally fast. If you can bring it down from 10 tiles to 9, because it's only taking 3 matches then to set him off. And that's absurd with him. You know, if you thought Krampus was good in the past, then Ferdinand, I think, is potentially even better because of how he's going to keep your team alive. Now, if you can pair keeping your team alive with just absolutely devastating damage dealing specials that will kill the opposing team, if you're on offense and then also on defense, not only is it going to be really hard to kill your team, but with the right synergies, you're going to be able to just blow the other team up and they can't do anything about it. You want to have Ferdinand on a team where you need everybody alive, and you want him in a position where he's going to go off probably first or near the front. I can see him being used on offense. I can see him being used on defense. I could see him being used in any war, no matter whether it's very fast or regular. I could see him especially, like, if you are somebody who has trouble, you just want to like complete the events, and you have trouble with that, or like you don't have a whole lot of battle materials to bring along with you, like battle items to keep your team alive. Ferdinand can be that guy. He'll take you all the way through to the end, keeping your team alive and helping you to just annihilate opponents with the other heroes. Now, he is more of a support, so he's not really actively helping you to win. Do take note of that. Wilbur, for example, does do that. He does like lower the defense of the enemies, which is not happening here. But this guy does so much better of a job at keeping the whole team alive so that you can bring those effects along. You know, bring defense down to all enemies hero along, and bring down like extra crit damage and all that fun stuff. So I think he's really great. I'm going to give Ferdinand an A because I think he can be used everywhere. He's very versatile. He's very unique. He's very cool. And of all the artworks, this one is my favorite. Now, this is, of course, all speculation. Let me know in the comments what you think about these heroes, if you got them, leveled them up, are using them, if any of them are surprising. I want to know. And if you haven't already, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell notification so you know when I drop new videos or go live. And I will catch you in the next one.